Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Lab podcast, where you've got a couple local Austin realtors that are sitting here, and we are here to answer your questions. Today's topic is favorite types of clients. I just want to let you know in advance that I am mobile right now, traveling between Austin and Dallas, and so if I cut out, I'm sorry. We're going to end up trying to keep it going without too much of a delay. So why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves? Why don't we start with
me, Crystal here with Keller Williams Realty, Northwest Market Center.
Love it.
JJ.
Hi, everybody. My name is Liberty Walker, and I am a realtor with Better Real Estate. Hello.
Hey, everybody out there. JJ Tolentino with the Next Level Property Group at Keller Williams Realty, Northwest Market Center.
Very cool. And I go by ianofAustin everywhere on the internet. And just kind of an FYI, don't forget that if you are on Spotify, Google, Apple, or Amazon, any kind of podcast, be sure to check us out on there as well. So why don't we start off with saying, listen, any one of you can start by saying, what is your favorite type of client and why? So give us a story or a scenario where you've worked with a client and you just thought, man, this was a really good experience.
For me, it's more like, okay, this client came to me, already spoke with the lender, already with the pre-approval, ready to go. They gave me their criteria. I sent them everything, and then they picked a few. We started looking. We found a few that we liked, and then so this was last summer, which was like not as crazy as it is now. So we were able to find something within just a few weeks. So those are the clients that I like, ready, prepared, know what they want.
So someone who you said pre-approved with a lender.
Yeah.
How important is that to you, Liberty?
I definitely think that it's going to be more important to the buyer because that's going to give them a better advantage in the marketplace to be pre-approved, and that's going to trickle down to my job. It's going to make my job easier, being able to present a qualified buyer that we can, let the sellers know will be able to purchase their home. So yes, I think those things definitely go hand in hand. Being pre-approved is great. Now, if somebody comes to me and they don't know what being pre-approved is, I'm happy to refer them to different lenders that can help them. So, I don't think that's like a make or break for me. I don't ask them right off the bat, like, are you approved? And if they say no, I'm not like, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, JJ? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, there's like what I like because it's easier, right? And there's what I like, and generally speaking, yeah, like Liberty said, you can be pre-approved, you can not know anything, and it's fine. That's more opportunity to walk you through the whole process, find a lender, and this and that. So aside from having $200,000 cash and forget that, having cash straight up and that type of ease and knowing what you want, generally speaking, it's very relationship based. I tell people you should just hire your realtor because you just trust them. And I think when it comes to clients and customers, we also would like to work with you because we trust you. And I also like the ones that I trust that appreciate the work that we've done. Heads up, if you're working with the realtor, I've closed many houses and only a handful have given me closing gifts.
Aww.
Yeah, I've gotten cards.
Is sweet.
I know.
Do that.
So if you're listening to this, and maybe you have worked with me, you could still send me a gift. But yeah, I had this dude that worked at what's it called? Sunglass Hut, but he gave me some Ray-Bans, and I was like,
Ooh,
yeah, that's awesome.
That's nice.
Or I had another client.
We're driving around, need to block the sun.
Yeah, and I had another client. I have a few gifts, but here, another one was we're like looking around at a house, and we noticed this like Scarface thing, like the Al Pacino thing, and I was like, man, I love like gangster flicks and stuff like that. And then she gave me like some Scarface memorabilia at closing.
See, that's so cool.
And that was literally and figuratively gangsta. It was cool.
I think what's so special about that is that while people may not know, but we take a lot of time to try to understand our clients and their needs. And so it's really kind of emotionally charged when someone turns it around and tries to understand us, right? Like, so if somebody gives us coffee or just something small, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it's like,
that too.
wow, I can't believe you even took a moment to think about me. That is so cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. That's always nice.
Oh, we just got this. Yildiz, he's talking about closing gifts. Oh my gosh, we all give closing gifts. If you don't get a closing gift, I'm not going to say you're doing it wrong, but I'm saying that's important that your realtor wants to build a longer term relationship. It's not a short term thing.
No, again, I think not us servicing. I think she may be asking if she should get her realtor a closing gift. Like we give our clients closing gifts.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Realtors are supposed to. That's kind of like our thing. We love giving closing gifts to our clients. Now, every once in a while, once in a blue moon, I'll be surprised and get a closing gift from a client. I'm like, woohoo, Starbucks gift card. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like with closing gifts.
I've never expected it.
Never, no, but
Yeah.
it's nice.
With closing gifts, like that's like it's like throughout the whole transaction, throughout like getting to like know your client. That's like where like obviously like you're building that relationship before you close, and then once you close, it's like, oh, I've gotten to know you so well that I wanted to get you this. It's like kind of like a way of showing you that, you know, you built this relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Even like I think Ian's frozen.
I just love the image that Ian's frozen.
When you freeze on
frozen
Zoom,
like with his
I'm a
finger.
podcast.
He's got his phone.
Like, for example, I found out one of my clients likes eating at Chewy's, which I love as well. So I got them like a $50 Chewy's gift card.
Yeah. Oh.
Luis says
No
Ian
worries,
froze up.
man. No, you know what? Seriously? Okay, so Luis says, sorry, I never expect closing gifts, but I think it's awesome. Even if we just get to go have food after, you know, and we just stay in touch. I think that's such a big deal. And you've texted me asking me how things were going, like during the freeze and stuff. Man, that is enough for me. That's awesome. Just knowing that, hey, I'm a human too. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I even had like buyers. Another tip if you're working with your buyer's agent, you know, sometimes it feels like a road trip sometimes. Like you go on all these tours and sometimes it's like, hey, let's take a lunch break or let's get a snack or I got to gas up or something. And I appreciate it because this doesn't happen all the time. Like if buyers like get me a drink because I've been showing them all summer or, you know, like, do you want something to eat or we'll pay for your lunch? That's always cool. Or even afterwards,
just an
like
offer.
Yeah.
It doesn't even necessarily have to actually go through, like transpire, but just even the offer is kind of nice.
Oh yeah, it's just the
it's
offer.
so rare.
Do it.
I know.
How about I think that I appreciate, you ready for this? I appreciate when people ask good questions, like deeper questions. Because I think a lot of buyers come and they say, I just want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. What do you have? And it's like, okay, that's seriously 200 houses. I need a little more. Give me more. Tell me about you. I need to have a fence for a dog, right?
Yeah.
I really like to work in my garage, so a 3rd-car garage would be incredible. That kind of thing. That, knowing yourself, is so advantageous when we're helping you out. Any of you have that experience?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had people who, you know, on the opposite end know exactly what they want, maybe something that doesn't exist. So there's like definitely a happy medium. It's like, you know, still leave some wiggle room to look at options, especially if you're a new first-time home buyer or new to Texas. You may not know what type of homes are out there. So it's good to keep your mind open. At the same time, like don't send your realtor 20 listings to go look at the weekend you're going to be in town. We can narrow it down from that.
We have a phrase in this industry. I'm getting ready to tell you guys an industry secret.
Don't do it.
It's telling. It's all
funny.
about being transparent, right? The phrase is called "buyers are liars."
Oh, how'd I know you were gonna use that phrase?
And the reason why, and I'm going to give you an example. And listen, I love this guy, seriously. but one of my first clients years ago, he's like, you know what? I'll take just about any house, but I do not want white cabinets. We looked at, seriously, something like 40 houses. The house he bought, white cabinets. I was like, seriously? But that's the thing. You can change that. And he wasn't thinking that when he started the process.
Yeah, that also goes back to, again, a trust. I think if the realtor and the client trust each other, they're more present in the conversations and the consultations. There's a lot more that they listen to. They get every nuance. They're really trusting you, like, man, this guy sees the market every day. If he says this, I think I should like listen to him. I'm not in the market every day. And even on the flip side, I've had the buyers that are like frenetic and they're kind of not really listening. They don't look at the spreadsheets I send them. And those are also the ones that might like step into the picture later. And I know we're not talking about like, part of like explaining what we like is also explaining what we don't like. So I'm just going to go in this direction is, we talked about this on a previous podcast. They start talking about like commissions or something in the middle of the deal, or, you know, oh, I'm actually interviewing other agents. Like when I say that I appreciate trust, like get it all out in the front of the conversation. Like Ian's talking about good conversation or good questions. Like, hey, I have a question because I'm interviewing a ton of realtors and I don't trust realtors. Like even that's worth like saying straight up.
I like hearing that. I like hearing that because it keeps me on my toes. If someone says, you know, I don't know the process, or I just kind of ran it across you, I don't know that I can trust you, I'm fine with that. Ask me anything. Yeah. That's the whole point, is to build a relationship and know that we can work together.
Talk about it. Talk about it with your agent. Like you're already there. There has to be some trust within that conversation. Start building on it. You know,
we've got a really interesting question. I'm going to pop it up on screen. Crystal and Liberty, I want to see you answer this.
What kind of agent buyers do you normally expect for your clients for new construction?
Okay, so I'll take this one because I think it's kind of tricky because it's like with my current, I have some clients that we started out as resale and then we decided on a new build. So there's no like clear, like putting them in a box in the beginning. I try to keep it open to because some resale homes are newly redone. So, I mean, it's hard to say, if they say, I want a new home, put them in a category of new home buyers in the beginning. But I feel like it's the same for me. What about you guys? Like,
for me, especially with new construction, I feel like I still keep in, I make like weekly, like follow-ups with them just to see, just to like, let them know where the home is at in the building process. And I like to also like, there's a lot that they don't know, especially with new construction. And so because I'm familiar with new construction, I can answer most of those questions that, like instead of asking the sales rep, they can just ask me, or I can ask the sales rep for them so that they don't have to like, go out of their way. Because new construction is a long process, especially if you're building from ground up.
JJ, how about you?
Yeah, I see you wrote as in not much busy work for agent. And it's not so much, it's not a time thing. Like, bless my toddler's heart, he busted his head open and got stitches. But the stitches probably took like 5 minutes. Like this doctor kind of cleaned it up, sewed him up, donezo, right? And I'm not like, hey man, you didn't really do much. That was 5 minutes of work. I'm more like, thankfully there's a lot of experience and trust behind this relationship, and I assume everything's good. So we talked about this in the podcast. There's a lot of work behind the scenes.
It's a lot of work still because you don't know what kind of lender you're dealing with. Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes I feel like really with this new construction, I've worked more. I've had more tasks than a resale home. And it's over the span of 8 months. Yeah. And my other clients that did resale, they're closed and gone. So I don't know.
I've had clients that one in particular I can think about. it was a 13-month build process. I've never worked harder in my life. And everything was trying to save the deal that they didn't realize they were losing the entire way. It was incredible. Every little thing had to be managed. And I don't know that people get to see those relationships that happen behind the scenes. And another thing, I've had clients that just this past weekend where they said to me, you know what, my expectation is this. My expectation is that you go out to these 3 communities by the end of the week and you give me a drone fly through of, or a video or something of what the topography looks like, because I've never been there. And I was like, you know what, challenge accepted. And then while I was out there, I had a buyer blue tape walkthrough to go through. And I did a Zoom like this or a Google Meet, and we did a blue tape walkthrough for another buyer's house. There is a lot of work that's involved in new construction, unless the house is already done, and then it's about the normal amount of work. It really just depends on how your agent performs and what expectations you set at the beginning.
Yeah, and again,
question.
Yeah, back to trust. I would ask your agent straight up, and then just see how you feel and trust about that conversation. Like, hey, this is less work, isn't it? Just hit it dead on, and you could feel them out. Like if they really are going to work for you throughout this contract to close in this building process or not, because someone that actually is loaded up with watching your back will explain what's about to pop off as best as they can, and explain what to look out for and how they'll be there for you.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. You said, ask about the process. I think because we do so many transactions, sometimes we forget to explain the basics well.
Yeah.
Right. So if someone asks, what's the process? It's like, you know what? That's a memory jogger. Let's talk about the process. You need to know this. You need to know this. And then it just rolls off the cuff. But that's a great initial conversation to have with people. And it keeps agents on their toes. If you are interviewing multiple agents and you ask them what the process is and you get 3 different answers, well, that'll kind of help you get an understanding of how they operate, right? If they say, oh, you know what, we just put something under contract, and then, 10 months later you hear about it. It's like, that's not the process.
Yeah. I mean, between you and your agent, that relationship and even building like favoritism, as we're talking about, it happens a conversation at a time, and there's plenty to talk about when it comes to real estate. So if you could hit it dead on and start one conversation at a time, I think you could have those better relationships.
And you said trust earlier, JJ. I think that's really cool, because having a client that is willing to ask the tough questions keeps us honest, and it keeps us strong at our strong performers in our careers, in our jobs. It's just like an interview. Every single time we meet a client, it's like an interview. And it should be, because it's going both ways. I've not wanted to work with clients. I'm just saying, I'll turn people away in a heartbeat if they treat me the wrong way.
Not me. I'll take whatever.
Bring it on.
14 or 15 more times, and I just can't handle it.
Yeah, I can handle it. You send them my way, Ian. I'll show them who's boss.
Who wants to read this?
Yildiz, I would just hit up your agent straight up. You might even teach him or her that there's some proactivity missing. I mean, I'll be honest, when I first got into the business, I got hecka called out by a client on my first to be built. My first to be built was going around saying, JJ got paid very quickly. I actually found it off the MLS. It was very interesting. But at the same time, I kind of let it go into auto mode. And she didn't feel like I was there. And, she didn't tell me this, but she was just like, he's getting overpaid for not doing anything. And that's honestly how I started learning, like, to get more involved, to jump into the picture a lot more. So now I swung to the other extreme, and, weekly checkups, at least within the month. And then
it's important to listen to your clients and ask them how hands-on they want you to be.
Yeah.
And I always say, if there's anything that I'm doing that you would like me to do, or if there's something I'm doing you don't want me to do, let me know right away, because you have to get it out there. Don't hold anything back or bottle it up. It's communication between agent and client. Like, you have to be open.
This is like turning into a communication podcast, but yeah, like the thing is, yeah, these it kind of could, if it bottles up for too long, it might turn into a resentment thing. So you got to like pressure release valve those thoughts and just be like, hey, agent, you know, it seems like I'm the one that's getting in touch with the builder a lot. And that seems to be the reality. What's your reality? You know, like,
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I have a handful of new builds that are going on right now. And it's interesting. I get probably 100 emails a day. I don't think people understand. It's hard to respond to everyone, and it's not necessary to respond to everyone. But I'll tell you what, I look at them and I try to pay attention to the things that are going on. So, hey, I need.
Ian's breaking up a
We're
bit.
losing them.
Well,
I think he's talking about the following up that you pay attention to when it comes to the builder representing the seller and being the filter for you to catch what's being told by the build side and the sell side, because there has to be a bit of an interpreter and somebody to look at what's being reported on your side together. Right, Ian?
yeah, right. You see this? Don, what's up, man? It's so funny. He said, "Are you going to check out the house?" I'm across the world, but I do have somebody who's checking on the house for you. I have a transaction coordinator that makes sure that every date is being met.
There you go. That's an example of Mr. Don checking on Ian. That could be an uncomfortable conversation for some people out there. Like, have that uncomfortable conversation, because you're usually on the verge of some enlightenment. Like that frustration, or like whatever you're feeling of uncomfortability, you could get something going. And that was a beautiful example. Now Ian just reported, and they're back on the same page.
Yeah, I'm paying to make sure that everything stays on track when I am not physically there. But I also check in anytime the story or anytime the builder has an update, and they send our emails, and I'm in that neighborhood pretty frequently too. It's pretty funny. These builds they're crazy, and they're going up fast.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat. I lean on my assistant to follow up with builders and the on-site and everything, you know?
Yeah. That's funny.
Boom, Ian's on it. Says Mr. Don Gulch.
I love it. So, how do you guys feel about loyalty with your buyers? Because I think buyers expect agents to just be there for them. It doesn't matter if they have 10 or 20 agents. How does that make you feel?
I don't. That again, like, I'm cool if you're not loyal, but you got to tell me straight up. Then I know how to organize that relationship. But if the more we work together, and the more you're not present, and the more you're a little scattered, and then I start doing work for you, and I'm under the impression we're a little bit more exclusive.
There you go. Exclusivity.
Like
we're dating right now. That's cool.
We're dating. It's a commitment. Are we just dating each other? Let me know if you're dating other people. And yeah, I think it's all, like, a lot of investors, I'm openly, like it's an open relationship. Like, hey, I understand you're looking for like some a little challenging to find, so it's cool. Like, what other realtors are you talking to? I'm in it. Like, I'll put some work in, but I understand, now if you commit to me more, I'll put more work in, and that's just how the relationship goes. Like, you could gauge it, and it's all good. You don't have to be like I don't have to be your number one agent all the time. Ian's frozen. What do y'all think?
I agree. Like, I feel like, sometimes people have different realtors for different deals that are going on. Like, an investor uses me as their designated Austin realtor, and they're using somebody else in Dallas, and so we're here to meet your needs. But yes, try to be transparent and open. And I always come back to communication. Let me know what's going on so that I can help you find another agent, or not overstep out of my lane. If you're wanting me to use me for investing only, and your personal home that's a $6 million Lago Vista house, you want to use your, luxury lister. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Crystal?
Just the price points and the niche.
Yeah, people specialize in different things, but you just have to be upfront.
I don't think a lot of agents know that. I'm sorry, a lot of people who are buying, especially for their first time, I don't think they know that. I don't think they know that there are different specialties. An agent who can sell 100 houses never touch new construction.
Yeah. And I think that's worth the conversation too. I think the general public may not understand that they could have these conversations, like really ask your realtor, like, is the suburbs your thing, or how does this all work? I do like those conversations.
That brings me to a good point. Engagement,
right?
Because that goes back to us getting to know each other, being able to engage with each other and seriously hang out. Like, I love the clients that are like, hey, do you want to go get lunch and talk about anything? It's like, yeah, of course I do. What do you mean?
Who doesn't want to have lunch and talk about real estate?
I know. Like lunch or coffee or anything. Yeah.
Oh, do we want to read that?
Yeah. So YD says, my realtor barely did anything. First home I found from Redfin, I bought from that realtor with me. Then first offer, I got it from feel like I'm being ripped off, I think is the translation. So it's interesting because the sites will send you a lot of information. So Redfin will send you all these houses. The thing is, the offer, unless you put in the offer and you did all the paperwork and the pre-qual and the connections and the title and the homeowner's insurance, like there are a lot of other factors in there, made sure that the closing went smooth. I'm not saying your realtor did a great job. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know all the facts.
You did get the house.
You did get the house, and that's important.
I will say, look at reviews, and that's why referrals are good. And this is a good point too. I definitely love, this is kind of cliche in the sales world, but like legit, we love referrals. Like when somebody reminds me that the experience that they had with me was so good that they're willing to refer somebody else, like their dad or their sister or their cousin, to have a similar experience. That's very heartwarming, because it's like, oh, it was actually that good. Like out of all the realtors and all the people you could look for, it's that referral. So, I think that sucks that you experienced that with that company.
Yeah.
Reviews, referrals could filter that. But I'm sorry. And that kind of also sucks for the realtor industry, because there are some crappy stuff out there. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I became a realtor, because I went through I sold a home and I purchased a home, and I was like, I can do better than this.
Yeah.
I can serve people better than this.
Right.
I got the same comments from like my family. Like my sister, she bought a house 5 years ago. And she said her realtor wasn't very helpful when she bought her house, and it was new construction. So like the moment my sister, signed all the contracts, like she didn't really hear from her realtor very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of tough. It's challenging. I think it's important to try to keep that communication open. And that's the other thing, depending on the realtor and yourself, understanding how each person communicates. I love clients that'll just tell me, hey, this is what I need. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like
I think
if
the
I
issue
know that
is,
they need to be followed up with once a week, it's like, oh, okay, I can make sure to do that.
Yeah. I think in this particular case, the sad issue is people don't know what they want, because the landscape is so new. It's like going into a surgery, like, oh, I want this type of bypass or these types of stitches. Going back to that.
Yeah.
I learned about stitches.
Yeah, what kind of surgeon do you want? Do you want
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So I think that, it sucks. I don't know, because like people just end up with different realtors, and studies show people actually don't interview enough, which is, I mean, how many things sometimes you just don't have time. You're just like getting into things, right? But yeah, I think having the conversations up front, if you're hearing this, before you get too deep into it, have the conversations at the front end, because sometimes you do get pulled into all that.
Yeah. I have a client that straight up honest with me. She was like, I just need some beans. I need to be fed beans so that I know what's going on. I was like, okay, that makes so much sense.
Beans,
It was
protein.
Yeah, well, give me some information. Like, just tell me what's going on. It's like, oh, okay, well, I can do that. Nothing. I can say nothing. I can say nothing happened. That's fine. Or I can say, you know what? I heard from this person a couple days ago, and that's where we're at. That's easy. I wouldn't have known otherwise, right? So just being transparent and honest goes such a long way. And it's two-way. It's a bilateral communication. So I love that.
Yeah, I think the conversation could be, how do we win and lose with each other on both ends?
Yeah. All right. We're running up on time.
I gotta go.
All right. See you, Liberty.
Love you guys.
Have a pit. See ya. Have a good one. So if you have
that's called an offer deadline, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
know, right? Offer deadline. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I don't think people understand. We've got these deadlines that we're up against. Okay. So before we go, do you have any final stories? Maybe your favorite experience with the client? Crystal, do you have anything like that?
Well, I see.
Without giving the client's name away,
So my favorite experience was obviously the first one that I talked about, where like we were ready, they knew exactly what they wanted, and we went straight to it. But at the same time, it's not about who's my favorite. It's just about like whether, like, how can I help you? How can I help you gain this knowledge and how to make the transaction a lot more smoother for you? And if they, need that, then I'd be happy to, help them as best as I can.
Yeah. JJ, how about you, man?
I just like the appreciation, like the gifts is a version of that. And in a weird way, you just feel like friends, even if it's like a business friend. But just to sum it all up, it's like you really trust each other, or you trust me with your like residential real estate, or you come to me because you might have the commercial connect or the restaurant dude. So yeah, I'd say trust is just the key word for this podcast today.
Yeah. Whose arm is that, Ian? It's my my buddy's son, Raz. What's up, Raz?
What's up, buddy?
We're heading to an event. Oh, no. Right now we're heading to the zoo. Next week we're heading to an event. That's funny, John. I think just to close out for myself, I would say one particular experience, and I've brought this up before on the channel. I had a client. She had no idea where to go, where to turn for help. And she just simply asked the basic question like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this house. I don't know. I haven't paid my mortgage. I didn't know the deferment didn't work this way. And I thought, man, this is tough. And then we just explored different options. We tried doing, what is it called? Like a GoFundMe type thing. We tried talking about like what it would take to list. Yeah, I know. Like you gotta be creative when you're in like a tough situation like that. Ultimately, what happened is I ended up finding an investor that paid cash for the house, and she had equity. And so it was the perfect three-way win scenario.
Yeah.
That I just, you never would have known if she didn't just ask the question. It's like, I love that I was able to make that happen. And so it was a great experience, even though it was it started off like worrisome and sad. It turned out to be so incredible because I just saved somebody from having a foreclosure on their credit.
Right.
And now they're in the position where they can buy something else in a year. It's like, man, that's me doing my job. I couldn't believe that I had to go way outside of what the expectation.
I call that like super broker status, when your salesmanship goes outside of the box and things work out really, really well.
Yeah. See, Photo Nerds is right. Trust is hard earned and easily. Absolutely true. And
For sure.
I agree with that. And make sure you keep me honest, keep Crystal honest, keep JJ honest, because that's what it's about. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. We're at the end of our podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again next week, same time.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.